Why? Monkey.
Who's that Pokémon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
Pal World. So basically, have you heard of Pokemon? It's the same concept, it's just with guns, right? Still with me? Good. So it takes inspiration from all sorts of different medias, whether it's from real life or from games, because I noticed there was what looked like to be a world tree, you know, Yggdrasil from Norse mythology, and there's a bunch of Norse names. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. If I can find it through all the hours of footages that I have of this game, I'll show it to you on screen, the name of this pal, because it's very similar to what I think is Norse, but I could totally be wrong. If you know what it is, write it down in the comments. Tell me I'm a big fat idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. Moving on, there's also survival mechanics and crafting mechanics. So survival mechanics, it's your typical hunger meter. You have to eat in order to keep your hunger up. Otherwise, you're going to starve to death. And then there's the crafting mechanic, where you can craft tools, weapons, and different structures to help build your base up. And yeah, it's pretty much the gist of it. You can also get your pals depending on what they're efficient at. So, for example, is if they're good at gathering, they're able to gather supplies from inside your base and then put it into a chest. That's their job. That's what they're efficient at. Also, there's character customization. Basically, you create your own character if you hadn't understand what character customization is, or if you needed help understanding what it is. As you can see, I based mine off of Kratos. Why? Because he's cool. That's all I can say. Yeah, deal with it. Anyways, character customization aside, there's a bunch of different wonky stuff that you can do. I've seen wild character designs from it, and honestly, it's just one of those. It's one of those mechanics that you just have to play around with. It's cool. I didn't know that this was a thing. I remember. Well, okay, I take that back. I did know that this was a thing. I just didn't realize what it was. If that makes any sense. When I was looking at it, it says world customization. Basically, like your level up speed, your hunger speed. I don't think it's hunger speed, but things that are similar to player progression throughout the world. And I left everything at default when I created my first world. And would you customize your world? I think it depends on your playstyle. If you want a more relaxed, more easy way of progressing through the world and getting, I don't know, towards the end of the story, the end of the lore, I should say. But yeah, I mean, I don't really mess with a lot of stuff. I never really tinkered with it in any of the games that had this kind of mechanic. So I'm not a really good judge of character, I guess, to say whether this is a good mechanic or not, because yeah, I just never really mess with it. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is that I got this on Game Pass, and instead of them calling the game pre-alpha build or beta game or whatever they call it for this specific build. I know it's an alpha right now. It's very buggy. We'll talk about that in a sec. But I wanted to say that it's difficult to play with friends. It's not very consistent. The worlds can be extremely laggy. I haven't played it on the Steam, but one of my friends, he said that it works pretty fine on the Steam version of Pal World. It's just Microsoft's version of the game that's having a lot of issues. More of the issues, I should say, than I guess the Steam. Is it true? I'm sure it's fine on the Steam version because it's not a dedicated server like the Game Pass is. It's more of your computer starts the server pretty much. The only thing is that on the Game Pass is that multiplayer for friends is only up to 4 people, so you and 3 other people can only play at a time, which sucks, but I understand why they put a limitation on it. But also at the same time, I want more of my friends to play at the same time, but hey, it's all good. Oh yeah, you can butcher animals, or excuse me, you can butcher pals in this. I saw it firsthand. You will be able to see it when I release a Pal World video with friends, pretty much. Yeah, that was interesting to see when I first saw it. Weapons, basic stuff. There's axe, pickaxe, crossbow, bows, arrows, that sort of thing, the spears. But a lot of that stuff you do have to unlock through a tech tree, or technology is what it's called, under technology tab. And depending on what level you are is what you will get. So the better the stuff you get, the higher you need to be, pretty much. Or you have to be lucky enough to get it through a chest drop, which isn't too hard of a thing to do. It's just you have to be lucky enough to get those schematics. And speaking of schematics, it's pretty much like blueprints for items or weapons or stuff that you want to craft. All you need is just a single schematic or blueprint in order to make that one thing for the entire base. You don't need to... It's not like a consumable where you have to keep finding it or making it or whatever. You just have it in a chest near a workstation and you'll be able to craft it. Level progression, it's... If you're going the route where you're just killing the pals and getting rid of them, in multiplayer, you'll see it the next time I upload this Pal World stuff, is when my friends and I tried to get together and play this all together, we kept running into where one of us out of the 4 of us couldn't load into our friend's server. And this one guy on Reddit, thank God for him, all he said was, all you have to do is just hold the spacebar down after you load into the loading screen. From the menu to the loading screen, you just have to hold the spacebar down and you're good. You're able to load in. It's kind of buggy, it's a bit laggy depending on where you're at. Characters, they can get stuck throughout the world depending on where you're climbing, because I almost got stuck at one point and I almost had to reset. Yeah, that was not a good place to die. Anyways, but yeah, pals, it's... In the base, they can be extremely buggy, because if you have too much or too confined of a space and too many pals in one area, they can get stuck in trees, or they pretty much get stuck in trees. That's all they get stuck on. And then they starve, and then they start taking damage, and you don't know why. But all you have to do is just take them out of the little area that you put them, that you tell them to go to work at. You take them out, or you pick them up, and then you put them back down, and they go back to doing their thing. They go eat and whatever. It's still an alpha. It's still being worked on. So I'm sure a lot of this stuff that people are having troubles with, it'll blow over. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's very fun. I highly recommend if you're going to just play it. It's a good, just relaxed session that you can play by yourself with friends, or if you're looking for long form content, totally go for it, whether it's live streaming or just posting a full, just multi-hour video or hour-long videos to YouTube or whatever. Lots of funny stuff can happen into it. Dumb stuff can happen into it. Just ungodly things can happen that you can't think of that just happen. Yeah, totally worth recommending. I think it's fun. Totally go check it out. It's $10 a month on Game Pass to just play all the games that they have on Game Pass, or $30 on Steam and wherever else. So that's it. That's all I pretty much want to talk about. While you're still here, I thought I'd share my thoughts on a movie. I know, completely random, just out of pocket, not tying into the game at all. Totally separate. I don't know where else to put it. I don't know what else to do with it. It has been living in my mind rent-free for the past month and a half, and it's been just gnawing at the back of my head, and I hate it. I hate this movie. So on Netflix, there's a movie called Leave the World Behind. And it's so ridiculous. Spoiler ahead if you ever want to try to watch this. I highly recommend you don't. It's terrible, gross, dumb. At one point, there's a dad, there's this family that move, that go to an Airbnb, and then all the stuff happens. The United States come crashing down or whatever. The infrastructure of the internet just crashes. That got hacked into or whatever. And this dad and the owners of the Airbnb came back. The dad and the daughter don't like each other, and the daughter was like, "Oh, I don't like any of them. None of them were likable. None of them. I hated every single one of them. It was stupid. It was dumb. It was so stupid. It built up so much." No, I take the back. I take the back. There was only one person that I actually really liked in that entire movie, and it was Kevin Bacon's character. And he was only on screen for like a total of like 5-10 minutes, maybe 10. I really liked him. He's grounded. I understand what he was doing. The other characters, done. No, they're stupid. They're dumb. I hate them. And it's stupid because it builds up so much stuff that they're pointing fingers at, and then finally the climax happens at the last 5 minutes of the movie. It was so stupid. It was just, don't watch Leave the World Behind. That is my quick 2-3 minute review of this movie, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm sure nobody will come to this part of the video, but if you do, don't watch it. It's terrible. I hate it. Would Netflix get better movies? That's all I gotta say. Later.